Lodge and around Brady's Run. And
Well,
they needed the power.
Time grows short. I mean, we're what, 2 weeks away from it?
It's getting close. Yeah, they're in crunch time, and they have a lot of moving parts down there, and we're really hoping that'll be a tremendous event after a several-year absence of no festival.
How much does it bring joy to your heart? It's a sense of normalcy, or it's a return to normalcy after the last 3 years that we've had?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, COVID set us back in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
The pandemic and the reaction to the pandemic and everything else. I mean, it's really exacerbated a lot of the economic development stuff that certainly I was looking forward to doing when I took office.
Right.
In 2020, and that all of us hope to do with tourism and hospitality type things. And hospitality's been hit pretty hard, and tourism's been hit pretty hard, and it's just starting to recover. And something like the Maple Syrup Festival is a key component to being able to accent all the positive stuff we have going on in Beaver County and the great assets that we have in the parks and the green space and everything else. So to me, it's always been a key anchor to a lot of what we're trying to do to promote Beaver County. What a great place it is.
Jack Manning is my guest. He is a commissioner. He's the commissioner today. Ask the commissioners, are you ready? Somebody's calling. Ready?
Okay, sure.
Please don't be a loony. Please don't be a loony. Please don't. It's a little prayer we say in talk radio. Okay. Hi, thank you for calling. What's your name?
Hey, it's Rick from Chippewa. Good morning.
Hi.
Somebody else ought to be there, taking the burden off of Jack's shoulders. There's two other guys. They don't seem to ever be there.
Okay, so Jack, can you hear him okay?
I missed the first part.
He said the other two guys should be here. It's not your job to represent them. You're great. They're bad. I'm paraphrasing.
You need to take the burden off his shoulders. Every time we hear to ask the commissioners, I think it's Jack. Those guys ought to straighten up and fly right. Hey, listen, we don't have much time for this because this show will fly by like everything. I don't agree with the way the assessment was done. It should have been a company out of Beaver County or Pennsylvania, went to Texas. I don't agree with that at all.
Okay.
The way it was done, the train derailment, I'm 10 miles from the train derailment. My assessment's done. It went up several $1,000s, which I disagree with. I mean, like, how much value is the train wreck devalue the properties in what area? 20 miles, 40 miles? And another thing, I never seen a tag on my door, no phone call, never any people walking around the property or out front. That doesn't mean that wasn't done. But in my case, it goes up thousands. Now I have to call and take my time, maybe do a phone assessment appeal, a phone, mind you, and a sit-down meeting. So they don't know if I have a game room that's finished. They don't know if I have some water leak with a sump pump. So that has a lot to do with the value of the property. Could you tell me in simple terms why this becomes such a mess? And nobody that I know of have seen a decrease in their property, or even for that matter, the same. It seems to be they're all increased. It's going to be a hassle for the residential homeowner to appeal and go through that process.
Rick, thank you very much for the call. Jack, I heard a couple things that I know you've spoken of before with the company not being from here. I'm trying to remember. That was the only option for that, right?
I don't know how many options there were.
Right.
And
that
again,
was the best option.
And I don't know, and I'm not trying to deflect or anything. I take responsibility for where we are and how Tyler is doing things. At the end of the day, that falls on our shoulders. I accept responsibility for some of the poor Tyler response and accessibility, especially when we sent out these letters.
You're talking about just communication.
There's been a lot of delays, a lot of complaints about not answering the phone and all that kind of stuff. And despite our best efforts to know that this was going to be something that was going to have tremendous reaction from the public. I mean, we've known that. The residents were going to call and be upset about this. But to get into a couple of the specifics, everybody's assessment is going to go up because we went from a 30 or 50% value for your tax assessment to 100%. So every single letter that went out to the 88,000 parcels reflects what is the current market value for your property and your land. Right? So theoretically, if you're going to go out and list your property for sale, this is what they're saying that market value is.
Okay.
So everybody's numbers are going to go up thousands of dollars.
Well, if your number, if it was before at 50%, now it's going to be at 100%. If my property was worth $10,000 and it's still worth $10,000, it's still going to go up because of the change in the percentage, correct?
Well, yeah,
this is why I glaze over when you start with math. I'm trying to understand this. A lot of people are trying to understand it.
Yeah. So anyway, everybody's number is going to go up because it's 100% assessed value instead of 50%.
Right.
Allegheny County's gone through a battle. They were assessing it 66%. Every county can pick a different one. We felt that after going this many years, since 1982, with an assessment to really get, once you go through this process, let's go with 100% market value, that eventually those will change over time again, and you can go back and do it. But we knew this was going to be tumultuous. We knew that there was going to be a lot of angst from people. All I can continue to try and reinforce to people is because that value went up doesn't mean your taxes are necessarily going up. Because the millage will come down substantially. And we've already kind of put out in different areas in communications with people, we tax at 26 mils for that 50% assessed value.
That's going to have to go down.
It is. And right now, we estimate that that millage rate is going to be somewhere in the 3.5 range.
I had seen that. When is that a final decision?
Well, it won't be a final decision until after all the appeals are done, because that is based on, right now, the 88,000 assessed parcels we have in Beaver County.
88,000.
88,000 or so.
Give or take.
Are on the tax rolls right now as a value of $2.2 billion. I'm kind of rounding here.
Good.
88,000, $2.2 billion. On that $2.2 billion worth of assessed property value in Beaver County, we collect about $57.5 million in taxes. And we get that through 26 mills times that $2.2 billion assessed value gives us $57.5 million. The new assessed value based on Tyler, pre-appeals and people, challenging those, is assessed at $16 billion. Right? And think about it. I mean, it's been since 1982. I would hope property values, industrial values,
more,
land has gone up since 1982.
You got me flashing back to school. I'm just scribbling furiously trying to keep track of this.
In values, right? So that's gone up. They're now estimating that it's $16 billion. And it's 100% assessed. So 100% of $16 billion versus 50% of the $2.2 billion and the 26 mills makes the math work out to about, if you want me to go out the four digits, I can, but it's 3.5857 mils, right? And that'll give us the $57.5 million. We're not going to increase taxes. We're not going to collect any more taxes than what we were collecting before.
Okay.
We've stated that there's no need for us to do that. But that means that your millage is going to come down on that assessed value, and about a third of people's taxes are going to go down, a third are pretty much going to stay the same, and a third are going to go up so that we can continue to equalize those assessed values and those tax revenues more fairly. And that's what it is. I know in my own case, mine went up. My taxes are going up a couple $100 a year based on this. And a lot of that's because I don't have a very large house, but I do have a few acres around it. And the land values have gone up significantly, as you can imagine. I have a house that was built in 1941.
Okay.
And an older, couple of bedroom cottage, but it's on the land. And the land value has gone up significantly. And that's where most of my tax increase is coming from.
Jack Manning is my guest. We're asking the commissioners. More people are calling, so I want to make sure to get to them. I got to get the news first. all you just said, how much of that's going to be on the quiz?
Uh, when people go through this, and by the way, just in defense of Tyler, there is no Beaver County company that has done this kind of a massive.
I remember you talking about that. Yeah.
And again, Tyler was picked by the previous administration, and the previous administration fought the reassessment for several years. The courts mandated you're going to do it. So in 2018, they started to do it. They looked around Washington County, Allegheny County, all the surrounding counties in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Maryland, New Jersey even. They've used Tyler. Tyler was considered one of the best in the country, and that's why we picked him. People are going to argue, I know, and try and pick holes in that. That's who I inherited day one coming in. And quite frankly, I was impressed with them after I got to know them. I think their methodology is good. There's something to be said about the execution of this last phase with the letters and the calls that people are making.
Commissioner Jack Manning with me. The phone lines are lighting up. We'll take care of news. You can ask Jack questions. It's Ask the Commissioners, 26 minutes after 9 o'clock at Beaver County Radio.
The county mourns the loss of Bob Barrickman, a valued member of the Beaver County Treasurer's Office for many years. Bob joined the county team in 2011 and had been working part-time until recently. However, his contributions to the community extended beyond his office duties. Bob was a familiar voice to anyone who tuned in to WBVP, where he called more than 1,000 high school football games. His passion and enthusiasm for sports would shine through in his broadcast. Bob's unique charisma earned him the nickname the Voice of Beaver County, and he was always happy to chat with visitors in the Treasurer's Office about sports. The county won't be the same without him.
Whether it's Little League or the big leagues, it's time to get out and play ball. Friendly Federal Credit Union reminds you that every team looks forward to playing at home in front of a live crowd. Seeing loyal fans can help any player feel more comfortable. Just like a home game in baseball, Friendly Federal Credit Union always has friendly faces to help and cheer you on at the teller window. Now get out of that dugout and in front of your cheering section, the personal live tellers at Friendly Federal Credit Union.
If springtime at your house sounds more like a buzzsaw than a bird chirping, make sure the sweet music of a circular blade continues all the way until your project is done. Visit Freedom United Federal Credit Union today and apply for a home equity loan. Just like you don't want to let the bird feeder run out of seed, make sure you've got enough materials to keep your power tools humming too.
Why not let your home help with making sure the sawdust keeps flying all spring? 5-year home equity loans are available from just 5.49% with approved credit. After all, your home is the one getting the upgrade, right? Enjoy the sounds of spring at your house this year, whether it's a finch, robin, cardinal, or a corvus drill. Visit Freedom United Federal Credit Union, where the interest is in you. Member NCUA Equal Housing Lender.
Your success is our success. We belong to you.
After a 3-year hiatus, the 43rd annual Beaver County Maple Syrup and Music Festival is back and better than ever. It's all happening on Saturday and Sunday, April the 22nd and 23rd at the Lodge in Brady's Run Park, just off Route 51 in Brighton Township. While the star of the show is the scrumptious Pennsylvania maple syrup drizzled over all-you-can-eat homemade pancakes, there will also be live music with numerous crafters and vendors. New this year is gluten-free pancakes. Tickets, including made-from-scratch pancakes and sausage, are just $15 for adults, $10 for kids under 12, and seniors, military, and first responders is just $12. There will also be Pennsylvania 100% pure maple syrup for sale, along with buckwheat and cornmeal flour. The 43rd annual Beaver County Maple Syrup Festival is being presented by Push Beaver County. Make sure you plan to come out to the 43rd annual Beaver County Maple Syrup Festival from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, April 22nd and 23rd at the Lodge in Brady's Run Park. Check out the festival Facebook page for a schedule of events.
Did you know there's a grocery store in your phone? How about wandering through the dog food aisle in your pajamas? Well, it's possible when you click GroceryStoreNewBrighton.com. Whether it's doing your weekly grocery run or picking up a few items on the way home from work, fill your order from Fisher's New Brighton Foodland from the convenience of your phone or computer. What could be better? Visit GroceryStoreNewBrighton.com for quick and easy pickup later at Fisher's New Brighton Foodland.
Beaver County Radio's news source, 95.7 and 99.3 FM. along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com. Here's Curtis Walsh.
Good morning. We can expect a chance of showers today with otherwise cloudy skies and a high of 53 degrees. We'll have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast after this look at news. The quick response to last week's active shooter hoax at Hopewell High School was commended by the Beaver County Commissioners on Wednesday. Matt Durzik has further details from the county courthouse.
1 week following the tense moments during an active shooter hoax at Hopewell High School, the Beaver County Commissioners gave praise to the local law enforcement involved with executing protocol in a precise manner to ensure everyone's safety. District Attorney David Lozier thanked the commissioners for their kind words, stating that the authorities had been training for this situation for a long time.
I think the county should be proud of the overall response, but that's because we've been working for 4 years. Ever since the Parkland shooting, we've had an active program to get police, law enforcement, mental health, the county to all work together to prepare. I think this showed that we are as prepared for chaos as you can be. But thank you to law enforcement for the support that you've provided.
The full story from Wednesday's work session can be found at beavercountyradio.com. From the Beaver County Courthouse, I'm Matt Durzik for Beaver County Radio News.
Columbia Gas has started a significant gas line replacement project in the Grove Avenue neighborhood of New Brighton. Work will affect portions of Grove Avenue, 19th Avenue, 18th Avenue, Valley Avenue, Allegheny Street, 9th Street, 7th Street, Thorn Street, and Cemetery Lane. The work is expected to take place from 7 a.m. until 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, with Saturday work possible. Motorists can expect road closures and lane restrictions during working hours only, and the project is anticipated to be complete in late summer or early fall. Aliquippa City Council heard an update on city projects. Here's Beaver County Radio News correspondent Sandy Giordano with more.
Sidewalk replacement on the city's west end is underway in the 1100 block of Franklin Avenue. Residents in the 12 and 1300 blocks will be notified when the replacements will take place there. City Manager Sam Gill reported on the future development of the east end, and the proposals were approved for release for the remediation to get rid of underground gas tanks off Route 51 leading to the tunnel. Councilman Donald Walker, Mayor Walker, and City Manager Sam Gill attended local government classes for 5 weeks. Councilman Walker explained that the classes are for 3.5 hours a week, paid for with city funding set aside for the program. Councilman Walker announced that on Saturdays, April 15th and 22nd, 2023, volunteers are needed to help due to damage and theft done at Steeple Field. The dugout roof came off and there's damage in other parts of the facility, and cleanup will take place, Walker said. The upcoming baseball and softball season necessitated the need for the public's help. Saturday, April 22nd, 2023 is Aliquippa Earth Day, Great American Cleanup of PA event. With the city to receive supplies for your group, you call 724-375-5188 between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. Saturday, May 20th is Community Tire Collection, and it will be conducted by Independence Conservancy at the Street Department from 9 a.m. to noon, rain or shine. This is Sandy Giordano reporting for Beaver County Radio.
To provide gun owners with the information they need to be responsible with their Second Amendment rights, Representative Josh Kale will be hosting a concealed carry seminar on Wednesday, April the 12th at 5:30 p.m. at the McDonald Sportsmen's Association located at 1 Sportsman Way in Midway. Jim Stoker, president of Firearm Owners Against Crime Institute for Legal, Legislative, and Educational Action, will share information and answer questions about Pennsylvania's concealed carry laws. While there's no charge for this seminar, space is limited. Please RSVP to Kale's district office at 724-728-7655 or online at repkale.com to reserve a spot.
Here's the Beaver County forecast on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
We can expect a chance of rain showers today, clearing out around 1 p.m. Otherwise, we'll have cloudy skies and a high of 53 degrees. Partly cloudy tonight, going down to a low of 36. Mostly sunny tomorrow with a high near 55. Mostly sunny Saturday with a high near 58. Sunny skies on Sunday with a high of 61. And sunny skies Monday with a high near 66. On this Thursday, April the 6th of 2023, at 9:35, we've got a temperature of 54 degrees with cloudy skies in Beaver County. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Curtis Walsh for 99.3 FM, 95.7 FM, 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Talk about what's happening in Beaver County or around the world on Teleforum. 724-843-1888. 724-774-1888. It's Teleforum with Eddie Crow.
Those are the numbers if you want to ask Jack a question. Jack Manning is my guest this first hour. Normally it's Ask the Commissioners, but Tony Amadeo couldn't make it. So today it's singular, and Jack's taking your questions. Rick called earlier. I think we addressed, or you did, everything Rick asked about except what's the latest with the train derailment, because in my mind that has fallen off the front page, and I'm scared that we're going to lose track, particularly when you see stories of people doing urinalysis tests and benzene and vinyl chloride are showing up in the test. Is that as big a deal every day as it was?
Sure it is.
Good.
It will be until we're fully compensated, until we've got test data and enough assurance that things aren't going to impact us long term. But specifically, to get back, kind of ran out of time, trying to answer, I think, the three different issues that Rick raised there. In terms of property values, I know he said he lives about 10 miles away. I'm about, as a crow flies, not the Yeti crow.
I'm good.
As a crow flies.
I don't fly.
7.5, 8 miles away, myself in Chippewa. I don't believe there'll be long-term implications from the train derailment on property values, but there may in the short term. Clearly, there are people that are leery of the farm products and the different things that are there.
What's
we're trying
growing,
to do
what's
what we can
eating, yeah.
To have the test data come back to show folks that it's safe in the farm products. And likewise, I think, when we get enough of that test data back, it'll show that the homeowners' values have not been diminished. In the short term, clearly there's probably been some impact there. That is certainly something that can be brought up during the formal hearings that we have this summer. It isn't something that Tyler can address right now. Tyler's only going to address, do we have the material facts and data on your house? And it really doesn't matter what your interior looks like all that much.
Okay.
It's more your neighborhood, that square footage, X number of rooms, outbuildings, pools, all those kinds of things, which they can readily see, that we can see from Eagle View with the flyover cameras, or that we already had on file.
Right.
Unless there's been some kind of upgrade that's been filed with the local municipality for building permits to put an addition on or do something like that. That's all Tyler's going to do in this phase in answering those calls, is just, do we have the material facts on your property?
Yeah,
right location, right square footage, the right everything. There could be some mistakes that they missed. That we did send a letter out to everybody quite a while ago saying, here's what we have on file. If for some reason we made a mistake in that, you had a chance to appeal that. Now they've come back months later and said, okay, some of you have objected, this isn't here, or that's gone, or that outbuildings disappeared, or you don't have something right.
Mm-hmm.
And they corrected those. And that is what prompted this temporary assessed value, preliminary assessed value.
Okay.
It'll be turned over to us, and then the formal appeals process will start. We have 5 different panels of appeals, and that's where somebody...
5?
Yeah, 5. There's always an ongoing appeals panel that we have right now.
What are the breakdowns of 5 appeal? Is there a commercial, residential, rural?
No,
How does that break down?
They handle everything, right?
Okay.
So it's made up of citizens and then we have somebody from legal and somebody from the assessment office, and they sit in on that. A lot of the appeals folks are people that have a real estate background, understand that, realtors and the like. They serve on this. But we've always had an appeals board. So somebody builds a new house, somebody buys a new house. it gets reassessed or something, or something has materially changed with your house, you've always had the ability to come in and appeal that. That process has been there. So with this, particularly in Darlington, I think, which is really the ones that were most directly impacted by the perception of a decreased property value, those folks could bring that up and say, hey, you're saying it's worth this. Right now, I couldn't sell this for a dime on the market. Right. So how can you do that? So that is something we'll go through those hearings. I don't know how it's going to be handled. Again, I'm not an expert on assessments, and I'm not an appraiser. I don't know all the nuances of that. But there's a lot of factors that go into coming up with that number. One of those could be the impact of the derailment on the 1 or 2 or maybe 3 mile radius around East Palestine.
Jack Manning is my guest, and he's taking your questions on Ask the Commissioners, 724-843-1888, 774-1888. You've been very patient. Thank you very much. Hi, who is this?
Good morning, Eddie. This is Georgie Porgy.
Georgie Porgy. What's up, brother?
How you doing? Worried about this tax assessment.
What are you worried about?
Well, Jack, thank you for coming on the air. I appreciate this, okay?
Sure.
I'm going to give you a fictitious figure here. Say my house was valued, what Tyler valued at $155,000. Now, is that the complete value, or we calculate that by half of that value?
No, that's the full value. They're saying if you were to list, if you were to go to a realtor and say, I want to sell my house, the realtor say, well, what's it assessed at? 155. Well, that's probably could be your asking price, depending on if you want to hold out for a little bit higher or you want to sell it quickly a little bit lower. But what we're saying is that's the assessed value, the market value for that $155,000.
That's the sticker price.
How could you get a market value? Because you never looked inside the house. Okay, I'm using this as an example.
Well,
I could have a game room down my basement.
Mm-hmm.
I could have a swimming pool in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's so many factors involved in this for a market value. You know, this doesn't make sense. But
and that's
where
is
it the way they did this? Okay, is this half of my market value that the tax will be assessed on?
No, that's 100% of the market value that your tax is going to be assessed on. But again, all those other things you said, that's where you go to a realtor and say, look, I know it's assessed at 155, but I've got marble kitchen counters, I've got a game room downstairs, I've got all these other amenities that make it more than that assessed value. The assessed value is really based pretty much primarily on square footage. How many square feet of usable space? How many bedrooms do you have?
How many sheds?
Outbuildings, attached garage, detached garage. It's really about square footage and not about necessarily the quality of the construction or the interior upgrades that have been made in a home, and that's the way they do the process. And
well, when I had a phone call with one of their representatives, okay, he could not give me any answers. The guy was, first of all, he spoke foreign. Number one.
Yeah. Wait. What? How do you? What? Give me an example of somebody speaking foreign.
Well, okay.
You mean?
You ever listen to some of these telemarketers and they call and you try to ask questions?
Yeah.
Okay, this is what this man sounded like.
Yeah.
No, don't. Never mind. I'm sorry.
Let me answer that this way.
Please.
Those folks answering the phones are not experts from Tyler themselves.
Well, they should be doing it then.
Their only job was to get your information
right
and to set up a meeting with the experts from Tyler. That was their job, and they kept hiring people because for some reason, we had some technical difficulties in turning on the phone banks, but because of the volume of calls, which we anticipated, out of 88,000 parcels, we expected 10 to 15% of people to call on that. So you got 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 calls coming in. They went out and hired more people to answer phones and take your information, contact information, and set up an appointment time to challenge the factual data for your assessment.
They were basically the reception.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. No different than calling
a doctor's office.
Calling doctor's office and getting
Somebody
the
may be
receptionist
speaking
and say,
foreign.
I'll take that information and we'll make an appointment for you.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Georgie Porgy, appreciate it very much.
No, I get his issue, but you know that was their job, was simply to take the information and set up appointments. We don't have, 25 or 50 Tyler experts on the phone answering all those questions.
No, it's not.
That's
like,
what the meetings were for.
Right.
Face to face, Zoom, or by phone.
All right, I want to get this one in because they've been patient. Hi, thank you for waiting. You're on Teleforum. Do you have a question for Commissioner Jack Manning?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Hi, this is Jerry.
Hi, Jerry.
This whole reassessment process, this was prodded by Chuck Betters wanting to see a reassessment done. Now, one question I've never really heard completely defined by somebody who would know. What was his motivation for doing this? How does he benefit from the fact that we're going to do a reassessment in the county? And more importantly, how would this benefit me as a property owner to have a reassessment done? Does this help in some way?
I can't speak for Mr. Betters. His motivation, obviously, again, it predates me. I was involved in the chamber at that time. Certainly, it was all over the news, him doing that. The only thing I can say is the only benefit would be if you were a property owner or a landowner who had property assessed at less than what you thought it was worth, and you wanted to go out and borrow money, the banks would say, well, Jack, your house is only listed as $50,000 of value, and I know it's probably 3 or 4 times that,
right?
Because it was assessed in 1982 and it's carried over. And I said, I think it's worth significantly more, and they would come out and reappraise it and say, it's okay, you're right. Now you have a credit line or an ability to borrow
a bigger loan
and stuff. So that's just how it might benefit me. But again, I have really no insight of what Mr. Betters was trying to achieve. Yeah.
Well, like you said, people would say, well, if it's lower, he can't get a mark. But anybody that wants to buy it, or like you said, anybody would want to make a loan based on it. I mean, they come out and do their own reassessments and things. And
yeah.
Their own valuations. I mean, I don't know. I never really understood why you would want to do that. I mean, you want to pay more taxes? I mean, I don't know.
I have no. I can't speak for Mr. Betters. I mean, he's always got a lot going on, and I have very little insight.
School me up on this. Is it Mr. Betters that started the whole lawsuit process?
Yeah, he was the one that sued the county back in 2015, 2016,
right?
Something like that. Went through the courts all the way up to the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, and quite frankly, I think everybody knew that this would be the outcome, because if you look around at any of the other counties in the Commonwealth that haven't had reassessments for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, the courts are eventually going to say, yeah, that's probably not a fair assessment of property, and they're going to order you to do that. So my predecessors and Dan and Tony, who are carriers from that, they fought it as much as they could, and they fought it for the reason that most counties fight it, is that it's expensive.
It's a big, expensive hassle.
And we knew this was going to cost somewhere around $8 to $10 million to reassess and go through all this, because it's a labor-intensive, significant issue to go through and reassess 88,000 tax parcels, and then come up with all the algorithms and the formulas, and look neighborhood by neighborhood, municipality by municipality, and all the work you do. And then you throw the pandemic in there in the middle, which really threw us off kilter and backed things up another whole year as a result of that. It takes time and money to do these things, and that's why most counties don't want to do it. Plus, we know, and I am extremely empathetic, particularly, we have an aging demographic in Beaver County. We have a lot of retirees,
You've
a lot of
spoken
military
of that.
retirees, a lot of older folks living there on a fixed income, and knowing how this works sometimes. the thought of a lot of those increases, that 1/3 will go up, impacting our seniors.
Yeah. They
it's
may not
just-
have that third.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't want to force anybody out of their home. So it's another reason why we fight these things as long as we can. But at the end of the day, once the court rules, we're going to have to follow the law. We're going to have to follow what the court says. And then you go out and you try and find the best example of someone that's qualified to do that.
Find an expert.
Yeah, exactly. And Tyler came highly recommended from multiple counties in our region, multiple across the Commonwealth. And like I said before, Ohio, New Jersey, Maryland, they've done these things all over the place. And here we are. And we knew it was going to be tumultuous. We knew it was going to, there was going to be a lot of angst and a lot of anger come out of that. And
Are we over the top of the peak? Are we on the downward slide? I think that's the frustration, Jack, that some people
Yeah.
have. You give them a timeline, they can figure it out. You have no timeline to give them in some aspects, correct?
Well, what we do, the court said we have to have this done by the end of this year.
Okay, there's that.
So
Yeah.
there is that. There is that. And we have a process, and we've been working through this process. I mean, we meet monthly, and now we're meeting every other week as we get into the home stretch here, going into the formal appeals, which people will be able to do over the summer, and then the court appeals. If you're turned down by one of those 5 panels that I talked about, then you can take it in front of the judge and make your case again to appeal that. But again, 88,000 tax parcels, 168,000 residents of Beaver County, and we knew we'd get thousands of calls, and that's what we're getting. We're getting at least 8, 9, 10,000.
I've got about
calls.
I got about 5 minutes left. First off, if you're just joining us, Brady's Run has power.
Yes.
And there's not going to be any problem with the festival coming up the 22nd and 23rd. You got a text about that literally this morning.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to ask you about the train wreck.
Yeah.
Do you have hope that people can stay focused on this long enough to get things fixed?
Well, they will, and the reason
Relatively fixed.
Yeah, the reason why I've been pretty assertive about what's different this time is there has been as strong of a bipartisan congressional reaction to what happened here that I haven't seen in quite some time. When you have the Marco Rubio's and Sherrod Brown's talking together, Bob Casey and Josh Hawley talking together about how do we get
Having
the
a-
railroads to be held accountable,
Yeah.
and how do we make them more safe. I think some significant congressional action will come out of this. I will tell you that Governor Shapiro has been excellent.
Why hasn't the PA lawsuit come yet? The Ohio lawsuits come. The EPA lawsuits come.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm at the county level. We are not interested. At least I'm not interested in joining any class action suits. If the Commonwealth does that, if the Attorney General decides to do that, then obviously we would be part of that from Harrisburg. But my bigger concern is the overreaction that I believe has taken place in the national media, and the people on the extremes with ideological or political agendas are exacerbating our ability to move forward from a Beaver County standpoint. I can't speak for East Palestine, but I think they're overstating the long-term impact of what happened during that derailment.
Just to get people to pay attention to the story?
Well,
or just to go deeper?
And again, they're trying to score political or ideological points. If you're anti the chemical industry, you're trying to overstate this, overblow it, bring in lawsuits, bring in outside people. If you're of a different political persuasion, you're trying to say, oh, look at the reaction, look how bad it is, and the DEP isn't doing anything, or the EPA isn't doing anything. So if you're just trying to score those points, you're not helping Beaver County by continuing to exacerbate what was a horrific incident, and you're making it more of a long-term detriment, making it harder for us to recover and move forward. Most of those people in Dartmouth, I've been spending so much time out there, Eddie, they just want to turn their lives back to what they were.
They just want to go back to February 2nd.
Exactly. I've been working with Beaver Lawrence Farm Bureau extensively. We're sampling 15 different farms. We're getting soil samples back. We're testing the water. We're testing the groundwater. We're trying to do as much as we can. So far, all those results have come back negative in terms of finding anything that wasn't there from a base level in terms of volatile organic compounds or dioxins and those kinds of things. We're still waiting for a lot of tests. I don't want to say it's over yet. We're going to continue to test for quite some time, but everything I see now has been favorable to us getting back to normal and getting back to life. So lawsuits, I mean, they'll take their own form. I'm just not a big fan of class action lawsuits and all that stuff. But that's me.
Jack Manning has been my guest. You've been wonderful. You've been so good. You got a curtain call at 11 o'clock. You're going to be Mike Romite's guest on Best of Beaver County. Do you think the assessment will get brought up?
It's a new hour. New hour today.
That's it.
Eddie, and then this is what we go through. Hey, I knew what I signed up for when I took this position, and I'm happy to answer people because I understand. The angst, the anxiety with something this significant. I mean, let's face it, your home is your castle.
Where the heart is,
right?
Yeah.
And it means everything to you, and you want to make sure you're being treated fairly and equitably, and that's what we hope to do, the outcome of this.
Jack Manning, County Commissioner, has been my guest on Beaver County Radio. It's Teleforum. That hour was brilliant. The next hour will not be.
Thanks for tuning in to Beaver County Radio, created by local people in the St. Barnabas studios. 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls and 1460 WMBA Ambridge.
The Best of Beaver County is easy to discover. It's right here on your radio. Tune in Beaver County Radio or watch the Best of Beaver County live on Facebook or YouTube video this and every Thursday from 11 to 11:30. The program is made possible by St. Barnabas. For over 3 years now, the show has been dedicated to shining light on the great things going on right here in your neighborhood and the people that are making it happen. This Thursday, enjoy conversation and insight from an intriguing lineup of guests who are creating excitement and having an impact right here in Beaver County. Your friends and neighbors at St. Barnabas are pleased to support the Best of Beaver County. The radio broadcast will